How's it going, everybody? DBSports back with another preview and slight recap. We are once again joined by a friend of mine and a friend of the channel, Matt with two T's. Matt, how's it going tonight?
Not too bad.
Not too bad. Well, I almost slept through our recording time to give you a hint as to how my day's going, and I can't help but think, Matt, that part of that is because I really didn't want to talk about last week at all.
I don't think either of us do, but I mean, we're just more so just looking forward to this weekend and
Yeah,
seeing what's going to happen.
yeah. So, uh, yeah, it's so frustrating, Matt and viewers, watching this team because obviously you can't lose to Ohio. And then you look at it and you're like, okay, Rocco didn't even play terribly, 17 to 24. He threw the two picks. I'm going to go ahead and say neither of them were his fault. Um, the first one, Jaden Higgins fell on an RPO. I don't know, maybe Rocco should have seen him slip and not thrown it, but I'm not going to kill a guy because the play is quick and he made a quick decision and the receiver fell down. So I'm not going to kill him over that one. And then the second one was DPI, clear as day to everybody that's ever seen a football game. And it wasn't called. And then, defensive lineman made a good play, turning around and following the ball and making the play to end it. But I'm not going to kill Rocco for that, And then we were missing Jalen Knoll, who I know everybody's killed this year because of the drops. But, I mean, you got to have Jalen Knoll out there. I mean, I don't know. People killed him for, punt returns and stuff like that. But, Dimitri was back there and he let one go. I think it was the last punt of the game. He let it go, 15, 20 yards further down the field because it was kind of on an awkward kick and an awkward bounce. And then, so you don't have your number one punt returner, and he's been your number one receiver. I know a couple guys stepped up late in the game, particularly. Jackson and Higgins both stepped up late in the game. But, you got to have your number one guy out there. And they said that there was, they were both out with, or they were both with food poisoning, and they said that there were 4 or 5 other guys that they didn't name. So, is this team cursed, Matt? Because I don't understand it. Someone please explain to me because was it the hotel food they ate the night before? Did they eat Skyline chili because they were in Ohio and it messed them all up? What is going on here?
Well, I mean, I think if you ask most any Cyclone fan, you'd probably get the answer that we're cursed. I mean, that's how it's been for a long time. I always say that we pull an Iowa State and always do something to just trip up over our own feet. But I don't know what exactly was going on in that game. I think you could make the excuse of it was a multitude of things just coming together, and that's what happened on that Saturday. But or it could just be, from what I've heard, is just the stubbornness from the coaching staff to not operate efficiently offensively.
Yeah, so to go into that, because that was kind of my next point. What the hell are we doing, Matt? I get it. You want to establish the run game. You've got some good running backs that can really help you when you've got a quarterback, especially one that's apparently dealing with food poisoning. So you've got guys in the backfield that can help you sort of move the offense. But the problem, Matt, is we have Ryan Clanton. We brought Clanton in to help the offensive line because every year there's hype about the offensive line, and every year they don't follow through with the hype from the spring and the hype from early fall. And you bring in Clanton, and he's been phenomenal in the passing game. Rocco has had time. He's had running lanes when he needs to move out of the pocket. I don't know if he's been sacked. I can't recall one from Saturday. Maybe he was sacked once on Saturday.
He got sacked once. They
So
allowed one sack.
So they've given up 1 sack in 3 games against, I mean, UNI's always going to play you hard. Iowa's always got a great defense. Granted, they mostly live off of the secondary and forcing turnovers. But some of that comes in with they force bad throws with their pass rush. And Ohio's no slouch. I mean, that's a 10-win MAC champion, won their bowl game last year. That's a good Ohio team.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got all this great sign from the passing game that you're giving Rocco time and you're letting him move. And we don't throw the ball. We threw the ball downfield 3 plays in a row on basically the final drive of the game. It was a deep ball that got called for DPI, so that's a 15-yard penalty. NFL, it's a spot foul, but college football, it's still a 15-yard penalty. So you move the ball 15 yards, force the defensive back to make a bad play, get the DPI, which, by the way, I believe that was the first penalty on an Iowa State opponent since the fourth quarter of the UNI game was in the fourth quarter of the Ohio game. Not to go into that because the refs on Saturday were awful once again. I'm not even going to talk about the kick. It was good, by the way. I feel like this is how Oklahoma State fans felt, so, I still don't sympathize with them, but, maybe there's a little bit that's like, well, but I don't even want to talk about that. So then you get the DPI call, and then you go down the field again. You go right up the sideline on a nice wheel route to Jackson. You pick up another 30 yards or whatever. You're right down in the red zone. And then you go right back down the field on the next play, and you find Higgins in the back of the end zone for like a 20-yard touchdown. You went down the field 3 plays in a row, and all 3 of them worked. When Ohio's playing the deep ball because they're up 10 with 4 minutes to go. They're playing the deep ball. They're not wanting to give up anything deep, and we went deep 3 plays in a row. All 3 of them worked, and here we are handing the ball off 20 sometimes a game at 1.7 yards a carry, mind you. So Rocco was our leading rusher with 9 carries for 31 yards. Matt, why are we so stubborn in focusing on the run game when we're averaging 1.7 a clip, Matt? 1.7. I could accidentally fall forward for that per game. What are we doing?
And I wish I had the answers for it, but I don't know. And I'm not gonna fault the offensive line for any ineptitude, and I think the talent's there. I think it's just I don't know what happened with the offensive line not allowing any holes, anything like that, it could be maybe the running backs just weren't reading the holes right, because you have a redshirt freshman and you have a true freshman back there. So that could be the case. I'm not gonna say it's one thing or the other, because the offensive line, as bad as the rushing looked, they only let 1 sack this whole game, and that's the 1 sack the whole season. That's pretty damn good.
That's really good.
Any way you spin it.
100%.
The pass blocking is great too. I think it's the thing where, in my mind, is they're focusing on, which is, it's kind of ironic because they want to establish the run game. I think they're focusing on some other things, like making sure that Rocco does have that time to throw. It's kind of like, what's more important? Something has to give, and unfortunately, the run game maybe is giving on that. And I don't have the answer for it, but
right.
I think that I'm not going to give up hope on this offensive line. I'm a big, like I told you before, big offensive line guy, and I really do believe in Ryan Clanton. I think that they're going to improve throughout the year. But you're right. The running has to get better. It has to. There's no reason for it to be this bad. That's just horrendous.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm going to do, Matt. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just chalk it up. The whole offensive line had food poisoning. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm just going to say the whole team had it, because I'll be honest. I looked up and down that sideline every time they panned to it. There was no energy. Nobody wanted to be there on Saturday. It didn't look like it anyway. I'm not going to assume that these players don't want to play.
Yep.
So
Yep.
slip of the tongue there, my bad. But yeah, I'm just gonna say they were all sick, and I'm just gonna move on, and I'm gonna try to forget about Ohio, and I'm gonna just move on to Oklahoma State. How about that?
Yeah. And so moving into Oklahoma State here and whatnot, I am a Army Black Knights fan as well. I love watching my my Army Black Knights play. They they went from a their standard triple option to, I don't know if you've seen this, but their shotgun triple option now,
Okay,
and it's goofy as hell. And
I can imagine.
they're throwing the ball more.
Okay,
And the first two games, like, didn't really work out for them that well. But they go into this third game and they just tear up UTSA with this triple option shotgun passing game. They almost dropped it at the very end because their defense is not that great, but they just offensively they were a machine. Army offensively is a machine against UTSA. So if that can happen, there is zero reason for Matt Campbell to not get this in gear
right,
this weekend and show just a modicum of efficiency for this offense.
right.
I believe that they can do it. I'm not gonna sit here and say that they're gonna reinvent the wheel and they're gonna read like what they did with Akron going into Texas and everything in 2017.
Yep.
You know, I've heard that up and down, and you probably have too, on all these podcasts and all these articles and everything like that. Like, it can be done, but it's not as simple as the defense. You know,
Right.
moving one guy here and there. It's it's executing it is part of it, but you have to play to their strengths. They are not playing to their strengths.
No.
Like, I get they want to establish the run game. I think, and I'll finish this here, but I think that it will show me at the first play of that game this weekend. If they go out and sling it, past the sticks, I will know that they have attempted at least to change up something. Like, they have to start slinging it if they want to establish this run game, because they're not going to if they can't do that.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw the show with Nate Scheelhausberner, but that was kind of my biggest thing. Is this whole time, last year's offense, the whole thing was we can't establish the run game because we're not pushing the ball downfield. So when we throw the ball, they're playing everything underneath. So they're bringing the safeties up, they're bringing the linebackers up. They know we're not going to test anybody deep. So when they're covering the short passing game, that inherently brings more players into the box that just happen to be there to stop the run. So if you have no threat deep, if you're not pushing the ball down the field, they're going to start playing up. Those safeties are creeping up. They're starting to press more. They're starting to bring those linebackers showing blitz and then backing out of it a little bit. I want to see them, like you said, because they came out against Ohio and they went run, run, run and punted. And then the first play of the next drive was a run. They ran 4 runs to start the game. None of them went anywhere. And then, Ohio's playing the deep ball late and we were successful on 3 in a row, that ended up getting us that so important 1-score loss. But anyway, looking at Oklahoma State, like you said, I want to see them come out. I'll be honest, I don't care if the first drive goes 3 and out. I want that first down to be a 30-yard bomb. Just chuck it. Just don't, maybe not into like triple coverage or anything. But if you got man, just throw it. Just throw it up to somebody.
Yep.
Let one of those guys try to make a play. I don't know who it's going to be, but Oklahoma State hasn't been impressive this year.
No.
They started off the year, they beat Central Arkansas by 14. And then they
almost got beat.
They did almost get beat in that game. That score is very misleading.
I was watching that game, and it was like tied up for a while.
Yep.
And I think they just kind of out toughed the FCS team.
Yeah.
At the second half there. But
Yep.
I don't know.
And then they played future Big 12 rival Arizona State, and they won by 12. So that one, that's
and they're just as bad as an FCS team.
Arizona State has not been very good. So you'd
They're the new
expect
Colorado.
they're yeah. Yeah. And then you have kind of a bad win against Central Arkansas. You have a bad win against Arizona State. And then you come out and you're playing South Alabama. Now South Alabama is not a bad football team. But you cannot lose that game 33-7 at home.
Nope.
I mean that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
So Matt, I asked this of Nate Shielburner last week. Give me some hope for this game. I know normally I don't ask for hope, and I normally put up the Hawkeye gif from Endgame where he's like, "No, don't give me hope." After the it's been long enough. After the snap and his family's just completely gone, and Black Widow goes to get him, and he's like, "No, don't give me hope."
Mm-hmm.
I use that GIF more than just about any other GIF when it comes to that. But give me some hope for Saturday. I mean, ESPN's got a 64% to win this game. We're a 3.5-point favorite at home. Is there truth to that, Matt? I need there to be truth to that.
The only thing that scares me is that 3.5 point favorite thing. Like it just Vegas needs to stop. Like can they just not put any lines out for us anymore? Like,
either
stop doing it.
Don't put it out or make it 4.5 or more. Either direction. Don't give me this. Don't give me this 3-point spread bullshit. Stop it. I hate it.
Mark my words. Saturday morning it'll get bumped to 4 because people put more money on Iowa State.
I hope so.
Watch it happen.
This is not financial betting advice. We're not a betting podcast, but that'd be hilarious.
Yeah. Nope. So the thing is that I don't know exactly how bad their defense is. I know how bad their offense is.
Right.
They have three quarterbacks. And
yes.
I mean, I know the saying that if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. They have 3 quarterbacks. So what does that mean?
Does it mean you have 1 quarterback? Because if 1 you have 1 and then 2 you have none, maybe it goes to -1. Do they have -1 quarterbacks?
Yeah. So I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they come out there with the one quarterback. But even if so, let's say just hypothetically they go out there and they pick one of those quarterbacks, Bowman, let's say. None of them are that great. None of them are that good.
No.
And I don't see how they are efficient against our defense. If they can only put up 7 points against a South Alabama defense, then I don't want to tell them about ours. I think that they maybe get a field goal. Maybe they'll bust out some explosive plays. Explosive.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I really don't see them scoring more than 10 points on us. That's my one hope. Now on our end is we have to see some change with our offense because if we don't, we're not scoring either. This is going to be Skyhawk 2022 all over again.
So what I'm hearing, Matt, is that it's going to be another Ohio game where it's 10-7, and you're not sure who's going to be the 10 because neither team can move the ball. That's what I'm hearing.
So I will go on a limb and say that Iowa State can be efficient in offense. We've seen it.
Yeah.
We have seen it. And coach speak, take it for what it's worth with what Matt Campbell said. But he said it's, they're just a hair off here and a hair off there. We get tired of hearing that. But in reality,
I do get tired of hearing that.
Yeah, I do too. Every time I hear it, I'm like, okay. But then I do kind of think about it a little bit. I'm like, okay, I do kind of see that because, like, for instance, when we were playing Iowa, they're a great defense. There was a few drives there that we marched it down the field, and we ended up not scoring, but we're able to drive down the field. Now it's the fact of, can we actually convert it in the red zone
Right.
or get there before the red zone? So I know that we can. I just want to see it. I have to see it. Otherwise, I'm just, I don't know what else to say at this point.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that's probably the biggest thing that this team specifically misses about guys like Brock Purdy and Brees Hall and Charlie Kohler was that it to me, watching those Iowa State teams, if we got to the 20-yard line, we were putting it in the end zone. That those players
Mm-hmm.
and those teams were so good in the red zone. I mean, that it felt like a guaranteed 6 points. It felt like there was no way we were settling for 3 once he got to the red zone. And I feel like since then, with Deckers and with Rocco or JJ or whoever's out there, it doesn't feel the same. And I get it that Brock Purdy is playing extremely well for San Francisco, and Brees Hall was probably in line for Rookie of the Year had he not torn his ACL. And what's going on in New York? I don't know. 4 carries. I'm not gonna throw anything out there, but he was really good week 1 coming off of that ACL tear. Had a couple really nice runs that maybe fully healthy he capitalizes on and finishes off. But I get that those guys are really successful, and that probably helps a little bit. But can we just, I just want that feeling again of once you get to the 20, I don't care what happens between the 20s, but once you get to the 20, I want to feel good again about this team's going to get 6 points. This team's going to put it in the end zone. And right now, I don't feel that. There is not a single part of me is almost more worried when we get to the red zone, because I'm like, we're already not pushing the ball down the field, but now we're even more constricted. Now they're even playing that much tighter up. And all those underneath throws, you need to scheme them even better for them to be open. And I just don't believe that we can do that. So, call me skeptical about this, but I know Oklahoma State's not good. But I just don't see the over-under's 36, or there's not going to be 36 points in this game, Matt. We've got to finally win a close one, and I just don't believe that we can right now. We lost 6 of 8 last year, were 1-score games. The first 2 losses this year have been 1-score games, albeit they were 2-score games before about the second to last drive of the game. But we can't win a close one right now, and I don't know what to think about this Saturday, because, like you said, we're a 3.5-point favorite. Any time that Iowa State's between a 3-point dog and a 3-point favorite, it feels like we're backs against the wall. You were just destined to lose that game by a score. So, call me doom and gloom, but I need to see it first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I completely 100% agree. It's thing is all of us Iowa State fans, we know what they're capable of. We know what the coaching staff can do. They're just we I feel like, I don't know about you, that they're all stuck in their ways with, having to run with a specific scheme. And I get that that can work, but like, it's the definition of insanity. You
Yeah.
keep doing it
Yep.
over and over again, and you think it's going to work. Like, that's just insane. So they've got to do something. And I think everybody, I think, agrees that starting off by passing it more, it doesn't have to be like last year. I get last year it was okay. We're kind of covering up some wounds there. Like, or all right, well, we have some injured running backs this time. We're just gonna sling it to X. Like,
Yeah.
that's what we did all last year. I'm not saying to do that this year. I'm saying, like, okay, if you're gonna utilize the tight ends, actually utilize them on longer routes. Don't,
Right.
like, or let Rocco throw it more. Let him run more. Like, that's another thing, is we don't let our quarterbacks run
No.
like they should be. They need to be these dual threat quarterbacks, because I guarantee you that is going to open up the run game as well.
Can I
Because
just
they're going to be, the defense is going to be like, are they going to, are they, oh, they're passing, it's pass look, okay, but you know, Rocco might run it,
right.
or they might, do a pitch or something like that instead, where they think it's going to be a pass or something like that. will legitimately open up the run game if
Can I,
we can have a more mobile threat. But it's you gotta start throwing the ball.
yeah,
They have to.
I wanna touch on that just for a second. Can I just say, so I don't know if you noticed, Matt, we run inside zone a lot, uh, and then we come out and we run what looks like a zone read. It's not a zone read if the quarterback never keeps it. It's just inside
Mm-hmm.
zone again, but the quarterback has to make a decision. And I don't know if Rocco's being told not to hand the ball off, but I know this was a massive problem with Deckers last year, was that it didn't seem like he ever ran the ball, which I don't know if that's a coaching staff thing. I don't know, because I know it seemed like that was the case for Brock, was they wanted to protect their NFL caliber guy, and they were like, Brock, don't run the football, because Brock had some wheels. I mean,
Yeah,
he's not a 4.240 guy, but I
yeah,
mean, Brock can make a guy miss. Brock can, he's shown that in San Francisco, that week 1 play against Pittsburgh where he took, it was like 3rd and 11 or 3rd and 12, and he took off the right
yeah.
side, split 2 guys. I mean, he's got some wheels, and it didn't ever feel like Brock really, outside of the freshman year, they never really moved Brock out of the pocket. They never really got Brock running too much. There was the occasional zone read that worked a lot of the time because the defense was never scared of Iowa State's quarterback running. And the same thing happened with JJ last year, or not JJ. Same thing happened with Hunter Deckers last year, where every zone read was a handoff. They never, it didn't
Mm-hmm.
seem like JJ was comfortable. Maybe it's because the quarterbacks aren't comfortable moving, but I find that hard to believe in this day and age that quarterbacks aren't comfortable moving. But get Rocco on the perimeter. Run, I see these speed outs all the time, and those plays annoy me because I hate it. I hate watching our quarterbacks throw the long. I talked about this after the Iowa game. I hate seeing our quarterbacks throw these long out routes because I knew against Iowa that they were going to house one eventually, and that's exactly what happened. But get him on the perimeter. Run a bootleg now and then. Get him moving and let him see. If something's not there, Rocco, go. You've got. I hate to be the guy that's like, well, you've got a backup plan if he gets hurt, but you do. I hate to be worst case
Mm-hmm.
scenario guy, but I'm not, I'm certainly not saying that I want an injury. I absolutely do not want any injuries to happen for any team ever. But get your guys in space, move the pocket, get something to happen because we've just got statues back there. And again, I find it hard to believe in this day and age with Michael Vick influenced so many guys, and Lamar Jackson influenced so many guys, and all these more mobile quarterbacks have been successful. And I find it really hard to believe that Iowa State is the only place where we just have Ben Roethlisberger's and Eli Manning's, and where they just don't move. So that's the other thing I kind of move the pocket, get Rocco moving, get the blood pumping. I like you said, I want to see something because I'm sick and tired of inside zone 20 times a game. Give me something.
I will say the one thing that stuck out to me that I noticed. I don't know if you remember this at all, but I think it's a um, coaching viewpoint to not run the quarterback as much because and I don't know. I might be reading too much into this, and you can take it for what it's worth. But I specifically remember the 2021 Kansas game where we kind of took out our anger on Kansas
Yeah.
that night,
Yep.
and we had Hunter Deckers in. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but there was a play where Deckers had all of it was like um, he was throwing, okay, and he had his receivers going way downfield, and he ended up bailing out of the pocket, and he housed it for like 35 yards
Yep.
for a TD.
Yep.
And Matt Campbell, they panned away from it like immediately after, but Matt Campbell, it looked like he was not happy with him doing that. And I'm like thinking, the dude just ran 35 yards for a touchdown. I understand that maybe
Yeah.
it wasn't what you wanted him to do, but when you have your seconds in, your twos in, like if that happens, that happens.
Right.
Like so if they're upset about a backup quarterback doing that, then I don't know what to tell you about their starting quarterback. But
Yeah.
again, I could be reading too much into it. And that's just what stuck with me for these 2 years. And I'm like, maybe that's why they're not letting these quarterbacks run as much, because it's not in the scheme. It's not
Right.
in the play design. So who knows? But you're right, 100% right. He's got to start running it at the minimum. You know, like doing these options or at least rolling out or something and
Yeah.
reading like, okay, okay, one's not there, two's not there, three's not there, my check down's not there. Okay, I'm just gonna go for these 5 yards.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that he has to be Lamar. I'm not saying he has to be, maybe Iowa State fans will remember Ray Al Mitchell. I'm not saying he has to be that, but you're 100% right. And I do remember I thought it was just Deckers on a zone read there, and he took it off the right side because I remember the "How do you do" call just
Maybe
so
maybe
vividly.
that
But
maybe that was it, but it was like 35
yeah,
yards. He went a long ways.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I was gonna say that's about the one play from that game I do remember because it was just such a
Mhm.
blowout that like you said, the twos were in. But yeah, Hunter Deckers, how do you do? I just remember that call so vividly. But yeah, I mean, it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they have to be Lamar, but like Rocco is our leading rusher. I mean, if you're gonna start somewhere in the running game, get him on the edge, something. I don't know.
Mhm.
So
Well,
Matt, yeah,
I think one thing that we can definitely talk about here too is Rocco is the man for the job right now.
yeah,
And I understand there's a hype for JJ, but Rocco 100% has the talent.
yeah,
Can 100% do this job. Just ran the numbers just now. If you go on ESPN, I don't know. There's some discrepancy here, but his QBR right now not the greatest, 83.6.
when you
Um,
throw three picks
but
and two of them aren't your fault, that'll happen. But yeah,
yeah, so I ran the numbers on another calculator, and I'm like, okay, what if you just had the one interception that he threw at in the Cyhawk game,
yeah,
and he's at 93.1.
I'm not
Like,
asking for anything more than that. I mean, that's good.
yeah,
Like,
so take away the other two picks that really weren't his fault, and you have a pretty darn good quarterback. Like
yeah,
now, have him sling it, have him move. Like he can obviously throw the ball. He's obviously able to read the field. I truly think he can read the field better than Deckers. I don't like.
yeah,
I mean, as both of them as redshirt. What was he? Well, I guess he was a redshirt sophomore last year.
yeah,
Deckers was, but still, with the amount of time that Deckers had playing, um, and the amount of time that Rocco has, Rocco I feel is like superseding what Deckers was even doing halfway through the season last year.
yeah. Well,
But
so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're pretty much in agreement that we want to see a pass to open the game on Saturday,
mhm.
preferably past the sticks to show that this offense can in fact do that when it's not a 10-point game with 2 minutes to go. I'd like to see any progress in the run game, but if it's not there, maybe don't hand the ball off 25 times a game at 1.7 a clip. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. And then also want to see not food poisoning, which
Yeah,
hopefully
that's true.
hopefully that Ames tap water cleanses them of any bugs
Well,
that they had.
if it makes any difference, I don't know. I heard that it was I guess like a norovirus or something
Oh,
like that.
okay.
I don't know. That's what Bloom and Williams were
Yeah.
saying, but I trust what they have to say
Yeah, for sure.
about that. But apparently, like Bloom said that somebody threw up on the airplane in the aisle, and
Oh
so that's
god.
telling you like how bad it was. And
Well,
apparently,
I think Rocco threw up at halftime. So, I mean,
yeah,
it was
that's
definitely
it,
not minor.
go back and watch his post game video, his post game presser or his questions.
Yeah.
He does not look
No.
It does not look good. He looks
No.
flushed, looks all red. Like, he just played a game, but that's not like a it looks like he's sick.
Yeah.
So, I think that could play a part. I'm making excuses for the Ohio game, but hopefully that's all clear and done, and we're healthy and good to roll on Saturday. I think they should be.
All right. Well, I think to wrap us up here, Matt, we've gone over what we want to see. We talked about last week. We've previewed Oklahoma State. The one thing we haven't done yet is I'm gonna need a score prediction, Matt.
Oh, so you want me to go
Yeah,
first
go
with it,
for it.
or
Go for it.
um, man, I don't know how optimistic I want to be with the Cowboys. I've been thinking this, and I don't, you know, I'm gonna say Oklahoma State 10, Iowa State 17.
Okay.
I could see
I
that.
like it. I like it. Matt, I really want to pick Iowa State, Matt. Because I you know, I hate using excuses, right? But when your number one QB and your number one wide receiver are not playing, basically. Well, I mean, Rocco played, but you know, it's been
Mm-hmm.
very evident to everybody that if he hadn't have played, I don't think anyone would have blamed him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I really want to pick Iowa State, and I look at Oklahoma State and just getting absolutely curb stomped by South Alabama. And I get it, South Alabama. That's a good team. But again, you can't be losing to God. I hate God. I'm not gonna be doom and gloom to the point of not picking Iowa State in this game, am I?
I don't know. I will give you some optimism here. When is
Okay.
the last time? When is the last time Oklahoma State beat Iowa State? Names.
Uh, I'm well. I think the last time they won
Wow.
in the last time they won in Ames was the game Brock threw 3 picks in the fourth quarter, wasn't it? So that'd
I
be
mean that
20
would have had to been like
2019.
so it's been a while.
I think it was
And
2019 was because then the time before that was 17 with Kempt when Marchie had the
mhm.
touchdown called a pick. So I think those
It's always a close game.
yeah, no, it is always a close game, and that's part of me wants to pick Oklahoma State even more now because it's always a close game, and I said earlier that I can't do it until I see it. Oh God, I can't do it, Matt. I can't pick us to lose this game. Oh God, give me. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
Seven to six. There you go.
The line right now is 3.5. So Oklahoma State's gonna
Mhm.
cover that, and we're gonna win 13-10. Or no,
Okay,
you know
I can
what?
see that.
I'll do one even better, Matt. It's gonna be a gross game. Gross game. Give me 7 field goals total. Iowa State wins 12-9 on 4 Chase
Oh,
Contreras field goals because I can't trust this team in the red zone until I see it. I can't trust this team to score points until 12-9 Iowa State wins on Saturday on 4 Chase. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a game winner, but 12 to
Contreras
nine
comeback game. Right?
Contreras. You know what? He might go 4 of 6 with 2 blocks. To be perfectly honest, on Saturday, because he needs to get the ball up, and the line needs to not let people right down the gut because that's been both blocks. It's been right down the middle. Give me Chase Contreras, MVP on Saturday. No, you know what? Scratch that. Tyler Perkins, MVP on Saturday. It's the special teams game. Chase Contreras, 4 field goals. Tyler Perkins, a punt at the end of the game to pin Oklahoma State deep. They're not moving the ball on this defense. 12-9. Oklahoma State covers 3.5, but loses in Ames. How about that?
Man, yeah, I can see that. Okay, here's one thing I want to add. Let's do.
All right.
I want to do a hot take.
Hot take.
A game hot take. A
Game
game
hot
hot
take.
take. Something that you think. I want to hear something that you think is going to happen. That you think is going to happen. That would just be absurd. Not necessarily absurd, but like a hot take. So like, I'll give you my hot take.
All right.
I think each one of the quarterbacks that Oklahoma State plays will get picked off.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Because I could say that the offense scores a touchdown, and that might be a hot take. But I'll go to I'll go to the defense because the defense gives me hope, Matt. The defense gives me hope.
Mhm.
Can I go? Can I go? Somebody on the defense gets 2 picks. I don't know if it'll be Cooper. I don't know if it'll be Tampa or Purchase or Freeler or Verdon. Verdon's had a couple nice games here.
Mhm.
So I don't know who it's gonna be, but somebody on that defense, they're getting whoever. Bowman, Gundy, I don't know who's playing. They're gonna somebody's gonna get one of their quarterbacks or maybe two of their quarterbacks once each, but somebody on that defense getting 2 picks on Saturday.
Okay. All right.
So I was thinking about that before you said that. I know no one's gonna believe me, but I was thinking that before you said that each quarterback was gonna
Yeah.
throw picks. So um, there's our hot take. There's our predictions. Matt, do you have any final words before Saturday?
Just man, just let Rocco cook. Just let Rocco cook.
Let Rocco
It's
cook.
just
I like it. All right.
little
Well,
clones.
this has been your Oklahoma State preview and Ohio recap. Again, we went long. This time it's my fault, Matt. So don't worry about yourself.
That's alright.
We went long because I wanted to go in, and I went in, and I don't like being pessimistic. All right, but there's just sometimes you got to be pessimistic, and right now, food poisoning, and I just no. You know what? It's done. Last week's over. It's on to Oklahoma State. Let us know what you thought in the comments down below. I don't even know what. Yeah, give us a hot take in the comments. If you made it this far, give us a hot take in the comments down below if you enjoyed the content. Like and subscribe. Click the bell icon to get notified whenever I go live, whenever I upload a video. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.